Welcome to the fourth of our regular updates highlighting what's happening and changing in relation to employment law and practice. In this episode, we cover proposals to introduce miscarriage leave. In relation to minimum wage rates, we discuss government plans to remove the adult age bands and the Low Pay Commission's current estimate for next year's national living wage. We also discuss internships and work trials. And finally, we note some immigration changes which impact the right to work in the UK. Firstly, the proposed new right to miscarriage leave. Currently, if an employee suffers a miscarriage before the end of the 24th week of pregnancy, there is no legal entitlement to time off, and any absence from work may be dealt with under their employer's normal sickness absence or compassionate leave procedure or on a discretionary basis. Earlier this year, following a report from the Women and Equalities Committee, which recommended that a period of paid leave should be available, amendments to the Employment Rights Bill were introduced which proposed both mothers and their partners should have up to 2 weeks paid leave following miscarriage or stillbirth, regardless of the stage of pregnancy. The government has recently issued a press release confirming its support for such leave. This support is, however, qualified. Revised amendments to the bill now add pregnancy loss before the 24th week of pregnancy as one of the qualifying losses for the new proposed right to unpaid bereavement leave. So now the proposed new right to miscarriage leave looks like it will be unpaid, at least 1 week, exact length still to be confirmed, and is expected to come into force as part of the new proposed right to unpaid bereavement leave in 2027. Specific details of the entitlement, including qualifying relationships, notice requirements, etc., will be confirmed in secondary regulations. Just as a comment, as we expected, the progress of the Employment Rights Bill has spilled into the new parliamentary session starting in September. As we already thought in our last update, the bill is now likely to receive royal assent later in September or October. And on to wages. You may or may not be aware that the government is committed to removing the national minimum wage age bands for adults. The government has recently confirmed this intention in its policy paper to the Low Pay Commission, in which it asked the Commission to consider how this should be achieved. It is likely, of course, that this will be simply done by gradually closing the current gap between the national living wage and the national minimum wage for those who are 18 to 20 years old. At the same time the Low Pay Commission's remit was published, the Commission updated its central estimate as to what the national living wage may be set at next April. While noting that predicting this figure is challenging, its central estimate is currently £12.71 per hour, which would be a 4.1 increase from this year. The Commission will publish its final rate recommendations in October, which are invariably accepted by the government. We will, of course, keep you updated. The government is also currently considering whether unpaid internships should be banned. An internship is a period of work experience offered by an organisation, typically undertaken by young people looking to gain relevant skills. Internships can vary in duration from a few days to over a year and may involve tasks similar to those performed by paid employees. Interns should be paid at least the minimum wage if they're performing duties that qualify them as workers under employment law, and the government has stated that they are committed to banning unpaid internships unless they are part of an educational or training course. Similar to internships are work trials, which can be used as an alternative and are often unpaid, although current guidance sets out that an individual on a work trial lasting longer than 1 day is likely to be entitled to the minimum wage in all but very exceptional circumstances. And even then, only if it is part of the recruitment process and the candidate is being closely monitored, performing the task being assessed, the work the candidate is being asked is representative of the job they've applied for, the length does not exceed what is reasonable to test the candidate's ability to do the job, and the tasks performed by the candidate have little or no value to the employer beyond merely testing the candidate's suitability for employment. Whether unpaid work trials should also be banned is being considered by the government. The government is therefore seeking views from anyone who has an interest, expertise or experience of internships and work trials, including businesses and employers of all sizes. The call for evidence closes on the 9th of October, and the government's response to the evidence will be published in January or February next year. For ways to respond, see our tiny URL. And finally, many immigration changes, as proposed in May's white paper, which we covered in an earlier update, have also come into effect. In particular, increases to the minimum salary thresholds in relation to the skilled worker, global business mobility and scale-up routes. Among the other changes is the closure of the carer and senior carer visa route to new applicants. See the latest statement of changes in immigration rules for more details. And that's it for now. Until our next video update, do remember to have a look at our podcast and our blogs. And of course, if you're not already a subscriber to Employment Essentials, do have a look at what we have to offer. It's full of up-to-date guidance, information, practical solutions, and ready-to-use workplace documents. Until next time, goodbye.